Hello, welcome to an Animorphs Book Club podcast.
That's been recording that whole time.
I just stepped on a pin.
Hi, and welcome to Animorphs Book Club podcast. I got food poisoning and I'm laying down this episode.
Okay, let's start the podcast.
Okay, well, welcome to an Animorphs Book Club podcast, where we read the Animorphs books. We've been reading every single one so far. The natural read our War Prince, read all of them back when she was like 10 or something, and now she's introducing the series to us, each of her eras. So,
except for Stir, who doesn't care, and he's grumpy, and he's sleeping.
That's not true. He has food poisoning.
he has food poisoning.
Like,
He got food poisoning by reading this book, which is very appropriate.
It was very appropriate.
He did listen. He did read the book. So if he has anything to say, he will.
He will wake up in a cold sweat and blurt it out of his feverish nightmares.
Okay, well,
Alright, let's introduce ourselves.
I'm Be Natural.
I'm Batter.
I'm Mustard.
I'm Stir.
Hey, Stir.
Okay, and this week, today, actually, we read book 28, The Experiment.
What an experiment it was.
Yeah, it's actually a very fitting title.
By the way, we got rid of the orphan crushing machine, but now we have the cow crushing machine, so if you feel like liquid flowing through pipes above us or anything like that, it's the blood of the cows.
If you object in any way to us having a cow-crushing machine, well, you should listen to what K.A. Applegate said about the ending of this book.
Wait, we should do the summary first so people understand what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Alright, I guess so.
Okay, summary time. Eric tells the Animorphs that the Yeerks have acquired a meat processing plant and an animal testing lab, but they don't know what they're being used for. The Animorphs decide to try and break into the lab to find out what's going on, but there's a force field around it so they can't get in. They find out that chimps are being transported into the facility for testing, so they break into one of the trucks, morph chimps, let the real chimps go free, then lock themselves in the chimps' cages to sneak in. Cassie angsts about the chimps possibly being sentient. Once the Animorphs get inside, Visser Three shows up and they all throw poop at him. Visser Three orders the Animorphs killed, but they manage to break out of the facility having learned absolutely nothing. They then decide to try to break into the meat packing plant. The plant has no force field, but it does have one of those sensors that kills any animal with unregistered DNA. However, they realize that the sensors don't kill any living animal that's far enough inside an animal with registered DNA, so the Animorphs decide to have Axe and Tobias morph steer while the rest of them morph flies and hide in their nostrils to get in. But, in order to be brought into the facility and morph, they need to get the right ear tags, so they do that. They almost get caught by some drunk college students who came to the plant to tip cows, but they knock them out. The next day, everyone goes back and Axe and Tobias do their steer morphs, only when they do their morphs, they grow balls, so they are actually aggressive bulls and not the laid-back, neutered steers that they expected to be. They almost fight, but Cassie breaks them up. The Animorphs realize that the people driving the trucks are going to notice that Axe and Tobias have balls, so they have Marco morph gorilla, knock the drivers out, then steal their clothes so they can drive to the facility themselves. Wacky hijinks ensue as Marco drives the truck, still in gorilla morph for some reason. They almost get caught, but Marco and Jake morph flies just in time, and everyone gets into the slaughterhouse okay. Axe almost gets slaughtered, but Rachel saves him just in time. Then the Animorphs start a big battle sequence. They get cornered and almost die, but Rachel saves them somehow. The Animorphs manage to lock themselves in a room with a bunch of humans in cages and one scientist guy in the corner. The computer tells them that the humans have had their free will erased, and that Visser Three plans to erase the free will of all humans by poisoning the water supply. But the food supply, actually, isn't it? They want to, put it in the meat.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Melvin book.
I am, yeah. It really doesn't matter.
Airmorph 1.
This is Airmorph 1.
This book is literally Animorph 1. But the scientist guy tells them that's not actually possible and that he fudged the numbers so as not to make Visser 3 mad. Yay, free will, I guess. They free the humans and the scientist leads them out of the facility in exchange for not being killed. When they get home, they eat burgers for some reason.
I'm so glad you're the one doing the summary because I don't remember a lot of that.
Yeah.
So how much of that do you remember?
I don't remember the horse bull
Cows.
There were no horses
no
in this
horses.
book.
Cows had balls. That was an important part of the plot.
Bulls have balls.
Also, the reason that Marco was in gorilla morph is just his legs are too short to reach the foot pedals.
Which is why they picked the shortest guy to drive the truck.
Marco has experience, apparently, because he crashed, multiple cars.
Oh, for context of how much Stu read, he read, up to the part where where Marco drives a truck as a gorilla, and then fell asleep doing it. Because you listen to, the audiobook thing, right?
Yeah.
A text-to-speech thing that I used. A lot of us did that for this book, actually.
Sturdy,
I'm still holding out.
It's good that you did that because you're doing the summary.
Yeah.
Stur, did you react to this book?
Yeah.
Oh, where? Which react did you do?
neutral phase.
Oh, okay.
This is the most thumbs down book so far.
Oh, okay, it's just Discord's being weird and saying only one person did, but then when I hover
So
over
you
it
and
says
I
two.
thumbs down to be natural, and then everyone else.
Yeah, I don't think I disliked this book as much as you did. Actually, I know I didn't, because I liked this book more than 27, but I think it seems like you didn't.
No, I dislike this more than 27.
I definitely like this more than 20. Oh, I want to say, okay.
It was still, okay, it was teetering on the edge of a meh. It was like when you're watching a show and, like, you're like, yeah, this show's pretty good, I'll keep watching it, and then you get to the end, and it's like, oh, that wasn't anything, okay. Except, this book, instead of being like, oh, that was pretty good, I was like, this book is serviceable, maybe it'll build up to something good, and then it just didn't, it just ended. So that's what put it into a thumbs down.
I think
never got anything.
I think it's at some points after reading it, I thought, yeah, that book was pretty good.
Why?
Because it had some philosophical discussion from
Which didn't go anywhere, and then at the end the author was like,
this book was
haha,
very similar to the Hork-Bajir Chronicles for me, a
Huh.
book I also disliked, because, like, it felt like it was going nowhere, and then at the end it totally, like, tripped and fell and, like, freaking pooped on its own head somehow.
Dude, yeah, when they got to the free will part, and I was like, wait, why
so
is that?
awful.
Why? I was
By the
like,
end I was just like, I am not having this anymore.
okay, see, I didn't think it was so
What the
awful.
heck was that? It was like
but I was like,
3 pages, like within 3 pages,
Yeah.
they find out about it. Cassie's like, no way, and then the scientist like just pops out of thin air and is like,
Yeah.
you're right, and then everyone's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I doubted you, Cassie. Oh, and then Cassie's like, I'm gonna remember this for the rest of my life, and I'm like, girl, it's been like 45 seconds since you
Yeah.
found out about this. Like, this isn't a major moment at all. This was like 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, when they introduced that, and
It
wrapped
seemed
up
like
in
it was
literally
too-
one page.
It seemed like it was 2 minutes in their life, in their time.
Yeah.
Because I remember I read like, wait, they gave these humans drugs that made them not have free will, like, because obviously
What does that even mean?
Yeah, because obviously they can take away free will from the Yerks, but this
It
is free will
suppresses-
from their
It
thoughts.
suppresses a part of their brain that is capable of having free will.
That doesn't mean anything. What
what's-
the hell does that mean?
what's
Well,
weird-
obviously it's fake science.
Yeah, but I'd like them
Because
to have,
the
like,
freaking
I don't
author
know.
lame-shaded
Okay,
it,
but if they
so-
wanted us to think it was real, which it seems like they kind of wanted us to think it was
Yeah.
real for a moment and then be relieved when that scientist showed up 2 paragraphs later, I wish they would have, like, explored a little bit what that would have meant. Also, why are the other Animorphs so freaking stupid that they're like, oh, dude, that totally makes sense. I know what that means.
100% success.
Yeah, and they're, like, freaking arguing with Cassie about it, because they're just so certain that, like, the Yerk computer, which is already, like, going, like, oh, our glorious Visser Three with his big, long just totally made the best drug in the world, dude. And the Animorphs are like, that sounds like sound science. Like, I mean, I understand, like, I understand being afraid of it, but why are they so, like, certain, like, it seems like they understand, like, what eliminating free will even means.
Yeah, I googled the definition of free will, and it says the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act on one's own discretion. And by that definition, the Yerks do take away free will. So it's weird that they just draw this line at thoughts, like, oh no, free will is part of a human being, you can't separate it.
Yeah.
Except from the Yerks controlling you, I guess. Like, when I got to this part, I was like, wait, that's possible? That's because I did believe it at first. And I was like, wow, that's possible? That's, like, insane this is possible in this world. Wait, why is there only 1 page left of this book? It was, like, literally 2 pages, I think.
This was like, I mean, these books tend to end very abruptly. Like, often while reading the Animorphs book, I'm like, wait,
This one was so abrupt because it was
like the worst
introduced.
one
It was
yet
introduced
with
within the last, like, 3 pages, and then it was an abrupt introduction of the ending, and then a sudden ending. It was insane.
It was so weird.
I want to say quick, like, I gave the previous book a meh plus a bumblebee emoji from our Discord,
And they did the same thing.
which
as
means a
Ernest.
meh and a half a bumblebee. And I also gave this one a meh and a half because I liked it more than the previous one. But I think for the sake of my future ratings, I need to remove both bumblebees because it's screwing everything up. Because these are not the 2 best meh books. I do not believe that. So I'm on air removing these bumblebee reactions.
Alright.
Yeah, it was dumb that you had them. I don't get what makes this book better than the last one, though.
I enjoyed
The last one was just annoying to... okay, probably just Axe. Honestly, Axe is my favorite character. And, the last book was just very annoying to read because it felt like I'm pretty sure these books had different ghostwriters. I think the ghostwriter of the last one was like, oh, Rachel likes fighting, but she doesn't like that she likes fighting. Let me just reference that every 2 paragraphs. Great. And this one was like, more laid back with that. Like, it didn't just, like, force this, like, over, like, Axe's character arc for the whole series. It didn't just force that arbitrarily into every 2 paragraphs, you know? Instead, we had, like, fun stuff, like Axe watching TV, and he likes these messages. That's fun. I enjoyed that.
I didn't enjoy that.
I remember that from when I was a kid at the very least.
No,
so.
I liked the parts with Axe at the beginning, but it kind of got old.
I liked
the book.
The thing I liked most about this book, and we'll get to this later, I think, in more detail, was Axe, like, thinking about human morality and how they treat animals in his head. It was kind of dumb, and
I wish it went somewhere, though.
Yeah, like, and the book had a very...
It didn't tread any ground that book 19 didn't already do, so...
No, well,
obviously, like, oh, andalites are so great.
No, it was not like that, though, because, like...
Yeah, okay, that's a good point, though. Like, book 19, like, was so in... Like, it had so many layers to it, you know? Like, it was like, there's andalites, there's humans, there's Yeerks. What about humans eating meat? Well, the Yeerks do this, the humans do that. There was, like, so much This is just, like, humans do bad things to animals.
Okay, I'll say.
Well, let's just eat burgers anyway.
I think that was definitely the view of the ghostwriter who did this. But I think the way Axe in canon approached it, he was like, he understood, like in chapter 13, he discusses this, and he understood, like, he said, like, I can't judge these humans too much because they weren't raised as, they couldn't be grazers like we could. So, like, I can't, like, judge them, and these are like aliens.
Axe had clearly never heard of Beyond Sausage.
So I appreciated that this book was trying to make a point.
I ate a Beyond Burger today, by the way. This book made me want to eat a burger, and I'm like, I'll just eat a Beyond Burger.
Like, this book was dumb and kind of went nowhere, but it did kind of have, like, a theme and a message that I think it explored decently. So that for that reason, I kind of liked it.
It did not explore them decently.
No. It had a message and a theme, and the message and theme themselves were decent, but they didn't explore it. Like, they just didn't. Like,
Exactly.
They barely did.
Yeah.
Can you read what Capelgate said about this?
Okay,
say
so, for some reason, I've always believed about this book, that this book, the ghostwriter of this book is a vegetarian, and then Capelgate read it, and read that the message was that, you know, cows, you know, very bad to eat meat. So then she wrote in that ending chapter, like, that ending chapter was all her. Supposedly.
Why did you believe that?
I think you brought this...
this is like something that I heard from somewhere, so I don't remember where I heard it from, so I'm not sure if it's true or not, and I tried to look it up, but I didn't really know, you know, how do you search that, so I'm not sure.
I think you said this in a previous episode.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was the Helmet Coin episode a few books back. Maybe it was off air, I don't know. But, because as I was reading this, like, halfway through, I was like, oh, this is a book that she was talking about the cows and
I was thinking that too, but I thought that was just one of the conversations Rachel and I had about Animorphs before we decided to do the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember.
I just spoil stuff all over the place. But,
okay, so what did she say about it?
But, like, okay, so I'm not sure if that thing about, like, the author being, the ghostwriter being a vegetarian, and then Capelgate adds that last chapter as, like, a f*** you to her, to the ghostwriter, or not. I'm not sure if that's true, but this quote I found from Capelgate kind of does, like, make me think that it is true.
Oh,
so, on this website where she's being interviewed by, like, fans are asking her questions. So this website says, the ending for this book made some Animorphs fans hopping mad. This is what Catherine Applegate had to say about the controversial closing scene. I took some grief from this for the fans. A fair number were upset that I ended with all the Animorphs ordering hamburgers. I am in favor of being as humane as possible in dealing with livestock, but I'm not a vegetarian. I kind of think that I'll start worrying about the treatment of cows more once there are no more political prisoners, no more children dying of curable diseases, and no more fanatics blowing themselves up to murder civilians.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We'll let all these immigrants into the country once there are no more homeless people, maybe.
Yeah.
We can't worry about this problem until every other problem is completely solved. Then maybe. It's such an unhinged response. I kind of love it, though.
It's not a good response.
It's so unhinged, though.
But it kind of matches the tone of this book, though, because I felt
really
like the tone of this book was, like, weirdly dark.
Yeah.
And Animorphs tends to be dark, but this is, like, dark in a way that's, like, just reflecting reality, like, there's no, like, fantasy sci-fi element to it that makes it, like, more okay for kids, you know? Mm-hmm. It's just, like...
I think this book had more...
Oh, that's, like, actually how a slaughterhouse works. Great.
Yeah.
Like, that's too real. Like, you can't just put that in a book.
One of the chapters had very, like, detailed descriptions of, like, cows hanging, like, bloody
I think it's very based to put that in a book.
It's based, but, you know, I don't know.
It's based.
I don't know if it's for kids.
Oh, we should say for anyone who doesn't know...
Well, the way it's written just doesn't make it work for me. I'm sorry.
For anyone that doesn't know, Be Natural is vegan, and none of us are.
That doesn't... really matter.
Well, it seems relevant.
You don't
to
have to
our
be
thoughts on
vegan
this.
to think it's good to know where your food comes from.
Well,
I
mean,
hate-
there's plenty of horrible ways.
I hate animal abuse. If I was in this book and I experienced the things that Animorphs did, I just think, like, from a character perspective, it doesn't make sense for me to just go and eat a hamburger. You know, just from a writing perspective. I would, if I saw that crap, I'd be like, no, I'm just not gonna do it.
Oh, see, so
Yeah.
you
At least not right away.
Yeah, there's okay. If I want to be charitable to this book, on the one hand, like in previous books, there have been times where remember that at the end of just as recently as book 25, like Marco gets back from like the cold Arctic and he like takes a hot shower for like 30 minutes and his dad is like, Marco, you're freaking scalding yourself, and he's like, I don't care, I'm in the hot water now. You know, like he's trying to get away from the thing that was traumatizing as recently as that. If you want to be charitable to these books, I guess you could say the Animorphs are, like, so traumatized at this point that they don't even care about, like, trying to run away from the trauma anymore, and now they're just diving headlong into it by, like, being like, yeah, screw it, we're just gonna eat the hamburgers, we don't care. That's me being charitable, you know?
That's you being charitable.
It's so funny.
Whatever, I can see how
Other
that
than
could
that,
work.
it's
but
just
this book
Capulgate's
does
like,
not do it well.
Actually,
This book does not sell
being
it.
a vegetarian's kind of cringe, actually, and right at the end of the book.
That's what it felt like reading the end of the book. Yeah.
It wasn't as dumb as I thought it would be, because like
It was dumber.
they're all like, Marco,
This
why are
is-
you eating? You're eating a
hold on.
burger now, but then
This
the
is
other ones
what
are like, oh yeah, I'll have one too.
This is what I remember the ending of the book being like. I remember the ending being like they have like a philosophical discussion. I remember. Okay, first of all, I remember the ending of the book being more than like one page.
But I remember. Do you mean
And
like when you read this 10 years ago?
Yes, I remember it being more than one page, and I remember it being like, you know, like at least a paragraph where they're like, oh, how could you, you know, after X got carved up, how could you eat a hamburger? And then somebody being like, well, you know, I don't know, like they just had some kind of discussion about it.
It would have been
took a little
better if
bit
they had
longer.
a discussion about it.
It took a little longer, but instead it, like, this just comes off as like, haha, screw that. Like, haha, screw you, I don't care.
It's
like,
so,
like,
it
just in
feels
kind of
very irreverent.
like reader, yeah, it's extremely like, just like, lol, like that's basically what, and like the tone it was going for, the tone, like, I was remembering it as like, kind of a commentary on how like, yeah, you know, the Animorphs are, like, not running away from their trauma anymore, and they're just saying, like, screw it, everything sucks, eating a freaking burger because it makes me happy right now, screw it, who cares, you know? That's how I remember it, but instead it's just like, ha, burger tastes good, like, it's just that, that's all, it's like, maybe the author intended the former thing, maybe, but, like, that would entirely be unrelated to how it's actually written and comes across.
And
like this had all the
way that,
subtlety.
like, the gore scenes felt like they just felt like the author was just putting them in there just to be like.
Well, yeah, you know, my theory / thing that might actually be true because I read it, of this book being written by a militant vegetarian and then Capulgate coming along and writing that ending makes total sense.
That's what it feels like to me.
This was
it doesn't feel like an overall written book for that.
This was the third Ghost Written book we've done, right? This is my favorite Ghost Written one so far.
Really?
I
like Helmacron's more.
Mustard.
Wait, Helmacron was Ghost Written?
I think so.
I don't believe that.
No way.
No, 25 was the first Ghost Written one.
No, 25 is not 25, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I confused it. Okay, yeah, 20. Okay, so it's 25, 20. Damn, they've all sucked.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. This is not. I guess technically 25 is my favorite. I gave it a meh. I barely remember it though.
25 was my least favorite.
25 was the exposed.
It was the cold one.
Extreme.
The really boring cold one that sucked.
It was so boring.
Wasn't there like a skip one where like somebody ghost wrote one and then Capulgate wrote one?
Yeah, that's so.
So 26 was Capulgate, and we all liked that one. It was good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone say your favorite part about this book.
Chapter 13, hands down, or the first half, which is Axe discussing human morality. I thought it wasn't super well done, but it was interesting to me and fit in with the themes of the book, and I appreciated reading it.
My favorite part of this book is when Axe says, humans come in a variety of skin colors, none of them attractive. I bet humans find certain ones attractive. He says something, if you're a human, you probably find certain things attractive. He didn't say, like, it's just, I just found it kind of unintentionally funny, okay?
No, I liked most of Axe's one-liners were pretty good.
There was a lot of strange
Remember in book 8
book.
when Axe was, like, writing an Earth diary and the beginning of every chapter was, like, you know, just some irreverent thing from
Elvis
him?
quotes?
Yeah, and, like,
Oh yeah, what happened to that?
I just forgot about it. I don't know. It just made Axe books. I wish these books did more to like set apart the narrators from each other more. Like I feel like the first. I said this last time, but I feel like the first like 8 books or so did a lot more to like differentiate the narrators' styles, and now they're all just kind of like the same.
Well, I remember I got to the first Marco book and I loved it because I was like,
exactly.
this book is written like in such a it's funny, like this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Marco's
I feel like they kind of forgot about that. Yeah. It seems like they almost could have just written these, like the first few books, it's like, that book had to have been written by Tobias. That book had to have been written by Cassie, whatever. But now it's like, they could have just written the book and then like swapped out the other characters' names and you wouldn't really notice.
Yeah. And this is the book that really started to feel formulaic to me. Like, it kind of made me question why even like Animorphs, if all of them, it's just like, They do something. They fly as birds, they spy, they go, they have a battle, they they go back, they do something else as birds, and
but
they
then you
have
remember
a
book
battle.
19 and how great it was.
Exactly, but now I'm just thinking like, how is like that's never gonna happen again? How is this ever gonna? How is the Ghost Riders ever gonna play with the form of this again? I don't think.
Well, Capelgate's still gonna write the Megamorphs and the last 2 books.
That's
and
it.
The Starfish book.
And the Starfish book. Yeah,
oh, this is gonna be such a slog.
I'm excited for the Choose Your Own Adventure books, which are ghost written.
And I do remember some ghost written books being good. To be fair, but yeah.
Okay.
I will say I think
I also remember the Hork-Bajir Chronicles being good. So
Well, you thought it was good.
I liked it.
I thought it was okay.
I
did not think it was good.
I'm the one who loved it. No one else liked it.
It was fine.
I liked it.
I don't like it.
I will say I think this book did have purpose being narrated by Axe.
Sure.
In that, like, the morality stuff I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because at first but in the first, like, third of this book, I was like, why is this an Axe book? They did nothing with this. But when they did do some stuff, that might be why I liked it, because I was pleasantly surprised that they started doing something with it.
Yeah.
Your standards are too low, buddy.
Yeah, this book wasn't great.
Yeah, this book, yeah.
I liked the funny monkeys.
When they turned into chimps. There's just one scene where Cassie's like, Axe is like, Cassie looked like she was having a debate in her mind, and she's like, oh, are these chimps sentient? And then they just are like, whatever.
Something that was weird about that
and then
is...
at the end...
The end with it where it's like, oh yeah, well did the free will thing work on the chimps because they're sentient? And it's like, I don't know. And it was like really shoved in there. It just really felt like they were trying to connect
on them,
two
but they didn't know
things.
whether it was because they were sentient or because they just don't have free will anyway.
Yeah, so it's just stupid.
Like, why? What was the point?
It was just pointless. I just didn't connect with it.
This whole book just made me scream, what is the point? What is the point? So many moments in there are just thrown in. So, like, when Axe and Tobias first morph bulls, Axe accidentally morphs a cow because he acquired the wrong one, and then he just morphs out, and then acquires a steer,
I'm gonna read it.
Back.
Axeman, I think you messed up. You're a cow. No, I am a steer. No, you're a cow. You have an udder. You acquired the wrong kind of cow. Oh, I demorphed. I acquired a steer. This time I checked. I morphed again. All done. Rest of the book goes on. You could have cut that part out.
So many conflicts.
They literally just put that there so that they could put a cow on the cover of the book and not a steer, because most kids would recognize a cow better.
Hey, Battle.
They just did. That's the only reason.
Use chimps.
Yeah, I feel like Axe turning into a chimp would have been a lot more interesting to look at, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about the cover?
You know why? It's probably because it's a lot harder to do, because...
Yeah, this is just a lazy book all around. They just didn't want to have to, draw anything too difficult. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to pay David Mattingly a little more.
It's a really funny cover, I think, because cows are funny, and Axe looks kind of silly.
This looks thoroughly psychedelic. This looks... If you showed this guy in, like, a cartoon or whatever, you'd assume the character was, like, tripping. Like, you wouldn't assume, like, this is, like, like, interpretive. This is just, like, straight up, like, LSD colors. So that's nice, I suppose. The Morph looks just lazy.
It goes from hooves to hooves. There's, like, it doesn't seem difficult.
Like, even the face, I don't know. It's not as, like, silly and interesting looking as usual.
And David Mattingly's Andalites look so ugly.
I respect the guy anyway, okay?
Did he do the cover for Andalite Chronicles?
No, that was Roman Koukalis, who does much better Andalites.
That guy is better than Andalites, yeah.
Oh yeah, freaking, we still have the Elemist Chronicles and Visser. Those are written by Capelgate.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I look forward to those.
Yeah. We have Megamorphs, like, after the next book. Mm-hmm. So there's that, I guess. Alright, chronological order. I really don't have any notes.
Oh, I was going to mention earlier, the Axe's audience here is humans.
He does say Andalite readers. He does say at some point, like, Andalite readers don't need me to explain it. Like, I thought that was a little bit interesting. Like, he apparently thinks that Andalites and humans will be reading this.
Yeah.
But mostly Andalites, right? Because he does write stuff like, oh, it's so, like most human inventions, you can't understand them. So I think he does think that mostly Andalites will be reading this.
Okay.
I feel like in other books that would be, like, saying something about, like, how much he thinks humans are his people and Andalites. But in this book, he just says, oh yeah, humans and Andalites are my people. He just says it.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. They kind of bring it up from time to time, and it's really annoying.
Like, in a different book, that would be interesting to talk about, but, they didn't do anything, so... It's weird, because it's like the events of this book seem like they could have had an interesting commentary. Like, it could have been memorable. It could have, like, had an overarching theme. Just, like, if you describe the events of the book and, like, certain, like, passages in it, but they just don't connect to each other.
Mm-hmm.
One of my first notes was this book seems hornier than usual so far.
Hornier?
Hornier, yeah.
That's what I said. Well, how so?
Like, they were, like, watching The Young and the Restless on TV. And...
I've never heard of any of these shows.
Oh,
And
yeah,
like,
I guess they are kind of... You're right, the first... I didn't mention the first...
Axe tries
the
to,
first
like, leave
passage
without a
just
shirt.
seems kind of gay.
It was like...
Because Axe, like, doesn't wear a shirt, because one of the characters on the show doesn't wear a shirt.
Yeah, they kept talking about, like, how TV, like, people were kissing, and Axe was like, oh, they do that a lot. And then, like...
I thought that would be brought up later, like, Axe freaking kisses somebody as, like, a haha funny,
no,
like,
stuff,
doesn't know what it means.
stuff like that did happen. It was not kissing, but it was similar.
Throwing poop, kissing,
No.
same thing.
Yeah, when does this happen, Mustard?
Well, at one point, like Axe, like, awkwardly
Axe
touches...
kisses Visser Three
No.
with his fecal matter.
It
on his eye.
says, like, Axe, like, he, like, awkwardly touches Jake's arm, like, to console him, and then it was like, oh, Jack from Young and the Restless does this a lot, but everyone was like, oh, that's weird, Axe, why are you doing that?
That was
I know, I meant, like, the way the kiss was described, like, made it seem like something that was, like, gonna be part of the theme.
Yeah, it was just, that's
like,
why...
Axe and Tobias, like, have this whole thing, like, have this whole conversation where Axe is like, why do people kiss? And Tobias is like, people
It definitely has a purpose.
Oh yeah, he was like, oh,
says.
there's definitely a purpose.
Definitely
That's
has
why
a purpose.
I mean it was hornier than usual. And then, like, a girl walks in like, a towel, and Marco was like, oh, man, look at that.
She's hot.
She's hot. And, like,
And then Axe says, like, oh yeah, that's why she's not wearing that much artificial clothes. And then Marco says, no, you're confusing cause and effect there, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's, like, a huge deal, because it is, like, a silly thing to put in a book. It just seemed, like, a bit more than usual. Like, it was just a little weird, you know?
The characters on The Young and the Restless do not wear shirts. I am young. I am often quite restless. I will not wear a shirt. That's
a great
paraphrasing.
line.
He said,
I
the
love
young and restless are in a constant state of being attracted to others, was one line. Yeah. The TV stuff wasn't funny. There was a part in the
Then
book
why are
where,
you
like...
laughing at it?
Well, like, there's a part where Axe, like, just stares off into nothingness, and he's like, oh, people do this in the TV shows when they're waiting for the commercials.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Axe, what are you doing? Oh, he's waiting for the commercial. It wasn't
I
funny to me.
literally did that as a kid, though.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, because he said, like, I forgot, we didn't mention this. He's watching TV, and he views it as helpful, because he's like, oh, I can learn what humans are like and act more natural as a human when I'm morphed as human, as disguise. So that's why he was doing it. Which is, like, that's kind of a fun idea.
That's a fun idea that they brought in that had nothing to do with anything.
I just never thought it was funny.
Maybe it will
They
later.
mention it in the...
I don't care. Listen, I'm used to
I'm
the... I'm used to
absolutely
the...
sure that by the next Axe book he will not have a TV anymore because the author just forgot.
I'm used to the first 2 chapters of the Animorphs books not having a connection to the theme, except in the very best ones, like book 13 and 19, and that's it. Those are the only ones.
Dude, I hate that Eric was in the beginning of this book, because he was in the beginning of the last book, and it's like, oh, how do we figure out
Exactly.
exposition?
From now on,
Eric.
they're always just going to use Eric at the beginning of every book.
He's so
It's
freaking cool.
stupid.
He's so freaking cool, and he's just gonna be like the Squawks the parrot from Donkey Kong.
Like, I forgot Eric was in this book, because he didn't do anything. He was just at the beginning, like, oh, hey, by the way, guys, this is happening.
Animorph King K. Rool stole all the golden bananas again! Visser 3 stole the golden bananas again. I should have said that.
Oh, boy.
Just pretend I said that
Not
instead.
Visser 3. Guys, what if the Animorphs had to morph the Donkey Kong
What
characters?
if the Animorphs had to morph golden bananas? I feel like... I guess Jake has to be Donkey Kong, because he's the leader of the bunch.
Yeah.
You know him well. Marco
Rachel...
If they morph the squad from Donkey Kong 64, let's say.
Yeah, okay, Rachel is...
Cassie would be Tiny Kong, just because.
Maybe.
I'm
trying to think.
I'm trying to decide.
No, Cassie would be Chunky Kong. If you played the games, you know
that's true. That's
Cassie's
true.
Chunky Kong.
Okay.
I was trying to think which of the guys would be.
Marco's
Chunky Kong,
Lanky Kong.
Yeah, for sure.
Marco is definitely Lanky Kong.
Who's Rachel? Like, Diddy Kong? Yeah, Rachel's Diddy
Diddy
Kong.
for Rachel? I don't know.
He's aggressive. He's like headstrong.
Wait, you said Cassie is Chunky Kong?
Tiny
Yeah.
Chunky Kong, yeah, because Chunky Kong's
Chunky's like big and nice.
he's afraid of stuff.
Okay, I don't know him.
And Chunky Kong likes butterflies.
Who
Yeah.
Tobias
one
be?
of his like idol
Squawks
animations
the
is
parrot.
butterflies.
What? They're all main cast except for Tobias.
Somebody
I
has
guess
to.
someone has to be Axe, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, who's left?
There's Tiny Kong, Diddy
Well,
Kong,
Axe
Lanky
would-
Kong,
Axe
and
would-
Chunky Kong.
Mm.
This is probably not interesting.
I don't
People who
think
don't know
they
these
really
characters. We
line
should
up
move
that
on.
Everyone
well.
knows these characters.
Yeah.
These are the best characters.
One note I have. How about we all go to the mall and see how many cinnamon buns Axe can eat before he explodes? And then Axe says, I have already performed that experiment.
That's funny.
And I said, experiment, that's the title of the book.
Oh, that's what it refers to. The experiment of cinnamon buns eating that occurred not in this book.
No, it's definitely about the chimpanzee experiments, but I'm wondering if they include the word of the... Because I remember the previous book, it had the word exposed in it like 6 times. So I'm wondering if this is something that the ghostwriters are going to do, where they just throw the word of the title whenever they can, just randomly. And I'm curious if the previous books did that and I didn't notice.
That'd be lame.
Because the word experiments...
Wow,
was
the
like 4
North
times.
Pole sure is extreme.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I'm going to my next... No one's impressed. I'm going to my next note.
I feel like they're all just common words that are gonna pop up in general. In
Yeah,
the book
exactly.
Anyway.
Like the Animorphs just use random words.
Chimps are slightly more attractive than humans, Axe says. Doesn't a chimp start peeing on them at one point? I couldn't tell.
Yeah,
One of
yeah.
them just starts peeing. I don't think it's directly on anything.
It was like the end of a chapter, as if it was like a cliffhanger, and then they just run away or something. I don't even know. I couldn't understand what happened when there was they were in a truck with monkeys.
Yeah, no, that didn't make any sense.
Oh, I like that X likes commercials.
Yeah, these messages.
These shorter shows that are displayed between longer shows, they're often my favorites. Zestfully clean, zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
I love these books are full of references I do not get at all.
So much information condensed into so brief a format. So much emotional intensity.
After these messages.
Good thing you like that, because that was in this book a lot.
After these messages.
Well, it was good the first time.
Marco referenced what is it, Big Mac? All lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, whatever, how it goes.
Special sauce? I
2
don't know.
all beef patties.
On a special sesame seed bun. Marco referenced that at the end. And he was like, oh man, I'm craving. And he rattled it off. Because of the cows.
That's so weird. Look at cows and think of food. Like, I get that with fish. But like cows? They don't look like the food.
Cows don't look like food.
Even chickens I can kind of get, because like the chicken wings are shaped like chickens, but like
I don't think
eat
of
like
food
a
when I
cow
look at
leg.
animals ever. I don't get that.
Yeah. I get that with fish, even though I don't eat fish, and I don't even like the taste of most fish, but...
Oh, obligatory Cassie's a hypocrite for not wanting to morph humans. Because she was like...
If only this freaking morality thing made sense in the first place, maybe this would be compelling.
Yeah, but she was like, oh, I don't know if I want to morph this ape, but I'm going to, because we're saving these apes. And it's like, Cassie, you know what you're doing when you're morphing humans is trying to save the human race. How is that? That is a whole...
Freaking like 2 wires in her brain. She's just like they're just like repulsed by each other. You can't connect
and I
them.
hate that all the other Animorphs go along with this rule that they can't morph human. Not that morphing
Jake
humans
is
is an
just
issue
a
in this
simp,
book.
and all the Animorphs have to be simps now too because of Jake.
Yeah.
Jake is an You know what Rachel would do if Tobias had a stupid ass idea that he just insisted the Animorphs all follow? Rachel would be like, no. So,
She would say that.
One of my notes just says I bet Visser Three will show up, and then my next note is, lol, he showed up literally.
I know!
Yeah.
Why is he here? This is so stupid. Okay, this book is so... this book made me realize, why do they not have more Dracon beams around? Didn't they use... I feel like in earlier books they just had Dracon beams, all over the place. Rachel, in book 17, Oatmeal book, Rachel just is, running around in a leotard in the Yerk pool, and she, finds a Dracon beam in a toilet or something. But now it's, they're in this entire, top secret facility. Visser Three himself is there, and nobody has a Dracon beam? What are you doing? And, everybody's about to, the Animorphs are, killing people. and they just still don't have Dracon beams.
They don't kill people.
I mean, like, maybe you want to, like...
about that,
I was thinking, like, maybe you want to keep them alive, maybe you want to keep them alive as hosts, and it's just really inconsistent when they want to keep them when the Yeerks want to keep them alive to be hosts, and when they want to kill them, but, then later they're like, oh no, they're gonna get the Dracon beams, freaking, now the stakes are higher, and it's like, what? If they can get Dracon beams, why do they not have... If Visser Three is, like, basically the president, he should have, like, Secret Service guys carrying Dracon beams around him. I'm sorry. No. This is stupid. Also...
you know why they had to leave the room to get the Dracon beams to kill all the chimps?
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
Well, like, none of this made... Okay, and that's another... None of the stuff in the chimp/slaughterhouse stuff made any sense. Why... Okay, why did the taxons... They sent the taxons into a room full of live chimps. Meaning, like, they expected the taxons to be able to, like, eat the chimps. They didn't need to, like, disable them first or anything. But then all the Animorphs need to do to kill the taxons is, like, hit them with a blunt object. Yeah. Like, as if none of the chimps would do that. Like, chimps aren't that stupid. Yeah. Like, the Animorphs are like, oh, yeah, we're humans, so we could think of this stuff. Like, chimps can use tools. And if you can easily kill a taxon as a chimp using a blunt object, then I feel like a chimp without a blunt object would still put up a pretty good fight. Like, at the very least, like, it would be difficult for the taxon to eat it. Right, I feel like at least a few taxons would die doing that. Yeah. I feel like they wouldn't be able to get all of them.
Well, all they have to do is cut the first taxon, and then the other ones start eating it. So they
like,
jump over the rest of the taxons and get out.
My point, like, it just didn't make any sense. Like, oh yeah, the Animorphs are just so much more capable than regular chimps, even though they barely hit anything more special than a regular chimp could do. Yeah. And then, like, also, how in the world, this is a freaking Yeerk facility... wasn't the truck driver of the chimp truck, like, wasn't he a controller? But yet, he just doesn't nobody bothers to, like, keep track of what chimps are in the truck. They don't notice that, like, the 30 chimps they had or whatever are replaced by 6 identical chimps. 6 of them exactly, who are identical.
And they know those 6 Analyte bandits, don't they?
And, like, I assume they had a mix of male and female chimps, so even if you're not that good at telling chimps apart, I feel like you'd be able to tell, like, oh, they're all females now, that's weird. And there's 6 of them, but nobody freaking cares. It's so stupid, none of this makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Gleep biofilter, in the last book the Gleep biofilter was in, there was, like, a big announcement, when the Animorphs as flies went in, there was, like, a big announcement in the Yeerk pool that was like, Gleep biofilter has been activated. Everyone please close your eyes to avoid damage to your retinas. And then, like, everyone's a big deal, and all the controllers in the place had to close their eyes. But now they can just walk through, and the cows are fine, and, like, at first I thought, like, well, maybe the cows are going blind, and they just don't notice because they're cows. But no, Axe and Tobias just walk through, they don't close their eyes, they just walk through, and everything's fine. So I guess the Yeerks had a huge upgrade to their Gleep biofilter, that they were willing to employ in a freaking slaughterhouse to protect the precious retinas of the cows they're about to kill, but they weren't willing to do that in the Yeerk pool, where all of their, like, best soldiers are.
Well, I think
their best soldiers can go blind, but God forbid a steer goes blind right before he's killed.
I think maybe what happened is accidents kept happening because this biofilter is at the entrance of every Yeerk pool now, I think they said. Maybe a bunch of accidents kept happening, and scientists were like, hey, Visser Three, we should fix this, and then they did.
And then they used all the money that they were previously spending on Dracon beams to do that, and so now they have none left.
I thought it was interesting. So there was an additional piece of lore is that if you're a creature inside something, then the filter doesn't affect you.
That's an interesting thing for Yeerks to do, because, like, first of all, they know that Andalite bandits can turn into things inside of other things, and second of all, their Yeerks themselves are inside things, so, like, I don't know, I would have assumed that Yeerks would want, like, what if the Animorphs, I don't know, like...
Oh, well, it's you know what, it's probably difficult to, like register DNA of Yeerks because they're slugs, so they register the DNA of the humans instead.
Plus, you know slugs have DNA, right? And it's just as easy to find slug DNA.
No, but it's probably a lot harder to, like, okay, slug, everyone register your DNA, get out of the ear, jump into the little pool. It just seems a lot more arduous to do that.
Or maybe just the biofilter is just bad at, like, getting
okay, actually, never mind. the organisms inside other organisms thing does make sense because humans are full of like
exactly gut bacteria.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Okay.
That's
So
what I was thinking. I mean, I didn't say it.
I like that they did specify exactly how it works because you can go in the nostrils, but you have to be pretty far in, is what they said.
That makes sense.
There's some flies died.
Yeah.
They were slightly further than they were as flies in the cow's nostrils.
Um,
So I appreciated that it specified the lore and how that works.
I've never been a cow before, despite what some of you may say, but I feel like if you had like 4 flies in your nostrils that you wouldn't be able to breathe.
Cows are covered in flies. If you've been,
I don't think they're in. I
four-
don't think they're deep in their
Cow
nostrils.
nostrils are really big.
But I
Yeah.
don't think they're deep in their nostrils, are they?
They're like
If they
on
did that,
their
they would just
eyes
snort
and
them out.
stuff. They're all over.
But they
dude.
snort them out.
I don't think that's that unrealistic. I was just more. I just
Well, like I
expected
said,
them
I've
to,
never
like,
been a
sneeze
cow.
or something. So
Yeah, well, that didn't happen. Maybe cows just don't sneeze. I don't know because sneezing is like.
I've never seen a cow sneeze. I know dogs.
Wait,
sneeze.
no,
it
don't
would be
they-
surprising to me if cows didn't sneeze.
Rats
I
don't
guess you're
burp.
right. I think they probably
I read in
do.
one of those kid fact book that rats don't burp.
Why would a rat burp?
Rats probably don't need a burp. Yeah.
I don't think any animals burp.
Why are you guys like, oh yeah, of course rats don't burp.
Do
Cows
dogs-
don't sneeze?
Do dogs burp?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but they do it kind of
That's
funny.
what I'm saying.
They
Maybe
like
it's like I think it's probably
they like
based
burp
on
in their
size.
throat. They like burp in their throat, and then they go like.
Ew, God.
She just like showed her teeth. I don't know exactly what it was.
Well, they kind of like burp
They
in
made,
their
like, a
throat, and then they
horse
like
mouth.
lean forward, like
Okay.
it's funny.
Because their necks are longer.
My next note is about poop. Throwing poop. Do
We have gone 0 books without the Animorphs pooping on their enemies.
On the
this
enemy's
also
head.
happened in the last book.
on their head. Well, no, they didn't poop. So, because the previous book, they pooped on Chapman's head and said, "Oh, too bad he wasn't looking up." In this one, they throw poop directly on Visser Three's eye.
Visser 3 has pink eye now. Oh, so sad.
It was. Hang on, let me read the description. It was like a detailed description. Marco said, "Poop him," and then Jack says, "I swept the big chimpanzee hand across the cave floor and without pause through the items as hard as I could and with great accuracy. The result was a large glop stuck on Visser Three's right stalk eye. Yaha!" I cried in glee.
Good thing they didn't have Dracon beams, because then they would just die instantly, but good thing they left the room, and with leaving everybody alone for like 10 minutes or something, and then we're like, okay, send in the freaking big slow Taxons with no legs and no mouths and no eyes.
Then the next chapter begins with them continuing with their movie. It says, Visser 3 was covered within seconds. It's just... This seems like the most explicit poop thing we've had in these books.
Definitely, yeah.
Like, I remember, like, in like, Megamorphs 1, I think, like, someone joked about pooping on Marco's head, and we were like, oh my gosh,
It
whoa.
was- Well,
Oh, yeah,
and Marco,
Tobias was
Marco
like-
joked about throwing
Marco's-
that poop in the pool.
And
That Snickers bar.
And that was-
Tobias
that was
like,
an
Marco,
actual
stand
poop.
right under my
Yeah.
branch, please.
Yeah, like,
So they've been very classy with this.
this
so
was
far,
very
but this
non-classy.
is
We
very
are throwing
non-classy.
poop at Visser 3's face. Monkey poop right now. And a large glop is stuck on his left eye stalk.
I heard that grape juice is really good for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the reason that the truck drivers don't suspect that the Animorphs for like all the shenanigans going on is because Andalites would be too stupid to do this plan.
Yeah.
And then they just like don't worry about it. Like great with good writing, author. Like great.
What is animal testing?
I just want like 3 of the Animorphs to die horribly on one of these stupid filler books with these stupid filler missions where they're stupid, and then that'll teach them. Like, I want like a ghostwriter to write a stupid filler book like this where they have the dumbest plan and they somehow make it out alive and eat hamburgers, and then Catherine Applegate comes along and is like, nope, and then just kills off 3 of the characters like in that book out of spite, like just rewrites the book that much and then publishes it.
That'd
And
be
then-
amazing.
I just want that to happen, please.
I wrote down a quote from Axe. I soon saw why humans prefer to draw an arbitrary line between themselves and other animals. Had humans been used as these animals were used, I forget what they got the experiment place or something.
Yeah.
The only appropriate descriptive word would be torture. Useful, no doubt, medically justifiable, most likely, and it is not my business to judge humans, but this behavior of theirs did trouble me. And I thought like the lack of passion he had while discussing that was kind of interesting. Because I feel like if it was any human, they would give a very clear opinion of what they thought of that. Like, Marco would be like, oh, it's so dumb that Cassie cares about this. Or Cassie would be like, oh, I care about this so much. And I thought Axe having written this book made those lines interesting to me. But yeah. You're an alien, I reminded myself, and furthermore, you're a grazer by nature, not a predator. Perhaps not the person who failed to judge human habits. My understanding of human evolution is that they began as hunter-gatherers.
That's like saying I'm a woman, so it's not my place to judge male habits.
I wouldn't say that's true. If you're a woman, you are quite familiar with how men act.
Well, yeah, and he's a grazer. Which animals are being victimized here by us humans? What kind of animals?
Really.
Oh, I never thought about that he's similar to the cows. Actually.
He just said that. You just read a quote where he said that.
He didn't say he's similar to the cows. He just said he's a grazer.
Right. Another part he did say, like, well, I am kind of similar to these cows, so they shouldn't be afraid of me, you know? Like, because I am also a grazing animal.
Oh, I didn't make the connection that he should be afraid of the humans because of that.
Dude, yeah, there'd be humans would totally be like, I wonder what andalites taste like.
Yeah. In more ways
venison. Oh, yeah.
What are you about to say?
What did you guys think of the whole plan with breaking into the back of the truck with the chimps?
I was not conscious of what was happening. I was confused. Okay. I didn't care.
It was pretty confusingly written.
That was one of the... I was like, wait, who is this guy who's cheering them on? He's just like...
Some random guy cheers them on.
Mario!
I couldn't tell...
I'm vegan.
I couldn't tell if they were on top of the truck or when or what was going on.
They fly as birds.
He was Mario. He went wahoo.
There was multiple trucks at some point. I was so confused. I did not care. I read this book twice. I didn't care.
A freaking car crashes behind them and runs into another car. I was like, jeez, okay. I feel like person's okay.
The Animorphs, we never kill anyone.
And then a bunch of monkeys started attacking the people in the car behind them.
Oh, yeah,
how were they attacking behind them? They left the truck? I was so confused.
They opened up the back of the truck and let the monkeys out. So the monkeys just jumped out the back of the truck and landed on the other car behind them.
Okay, I'm glad that I'm glad that this wasn't just because I was listening to it instead of reading it that this was confusing. I did not really understand the geometry of anything. I like how they're we can set the chimps free and they'll surely be shot by cops and in the day, and that's better. And it's I guess there's kind of an interesting
dilemma.
There's kind of an interesting theme question in there about would you rather live a short, somewhat free life or a longer tortured life? But they obviously they didn't really dwell on that, and it didn't really tie into the rest of the book, and doesn't it just turn out to work out anyway? Don't they hear on the news oh yeah, all the chimps just happen to be safely found by zookeepers who are gonna take them to a fun zoo? Didn't they say something like that earlier?
Yeah,
it just happened to work out.
They never find out that they're linked to the Yerks or animal testing or anything like that. They never find out where they're from. So yeah, it did just work out.
My next note is I liked the part where it was the cow tipping part. Rachel was Axe, cut these guys' heads off, they're being annoying. And then everyone's she's kidding. And then it's Axe is flap, flap, I snapped my tail 3 times, slump, slump, slump. And Moko's what did you just do? I like that Moko believed that Axe killed these guys. I thought that was a fun moment. Of course he didn't, he just whacked them with his shell blade, the blunt end of it. It didn't go anywhere, but I thought that was a fun little moment that...
It was I actually remembered that scene from before, so I guess that's something.
Yeah.
There was something I was gonna say.
I definitely want to talk about the Stewart part.
Hold on.
At some point.
There was something I was gonna say. There's something about the frat thing.
About the Thwomp killing people, you remember it?
Both Axe and Visser Three dismember somebody's hand in this book. Two people's hands get... I think Axe does. At least Visser 3 does. I could have sworn Axe does.
I know Visser 3 does, yeah. It was the scientist or something.
Okay, it's kind of implied. I feel like Axe says that, somebody, comes at Axe with a chainsaw, and then he's it's flap, and then it's he no longer had a chainsaw.
Yeah, that part seemed, weird. The way that was worded seemed, weird and silly compared to, what just happened before, which was really, intense and...
Is that when he was, in the slaughterhouse?
Okay, a human controller rushed at me with a long-powered saw. The saw screamed, "Flap!" Now the human controller screamed. He no longer has a chainsaw, I said. Chapter ends. Yeah, he cut his hand off.
Wow. I remember that.
So two people lost their hands at the tails of Andalites today.
Hey, were you guys, certain that Tobias and Axe were going to get their balls chopped off in this book?
No.
No, I was honestly with the Animorphs in this. I forgot about the whole steer versus bull thing.
Well, no, but it's... I responded.
No, for a few seconds I was like, wait, are they actually going to get their balls
No,
chopped off in real time?
Cassie chops off.
Cassie's like, well, what else are we going to do?
Cassie, they did put Cassie right there, right next to her, and she had a stapler gun with her. Like, she could have tried.
The thing is, I thought that, and then it didn't happen, and then I thought it again, like a page later. I was like, this is definitely where this is, like, going.
She was like, there's only one thing to do.
Yeah, no, because...
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Let me read the text. I was like...
that wouldn't, you guys know that wouldn't solve anything. The problem is that they look different. And if she cut their balls off, they'd be freaking.
That's not the problem, though.
They'd be bleeding all over the place.
No, at first Jake's like, oh, the steer, not bull, and they're like, oh, they're having trouble with this like instinct of being fighting, so they need the balls cut off to fix that or something.
Yeah, instead let's put them in horrible pain and the instincts of bulls.
It's totally worth it when they have.
No, listen,
their testosterone doesn't disappear instantly. Right?
I don't care about the logic. That seemed like where this book was going, because they're like, you get to be a nice docile steer by being neutered, but your DNA is still your bull DNA, and it's like, you're not steer, you're bulls. They're very territorial. What do we do? Don't they ever send bulls to the slaughterhouse? Yes, but so maybe we're okay. But how do we get past these guys? And then Jake's like, we've gone through too much trouble. I don't want to just give up.
Some cost fallacy right there.
Yeah, it was. It seemed like the way they worded, like, guys, we've gone too far. You have to save these balls. There's no other choice. We have to get your balls chopped off. That just seemed like what it's going to me.
Yeah.
It would. I was very ready for them to come up Tobias and axe his balls like multiple times.
Jake Animorph angrily tells you he needs to cut off your balls. POV.
That is like 100% like multiple times in this book. That's what I thought. That's where it was going.
It's just more funny to make fun of.
Like that was definitely intentional, right? Like you're supposed to think that.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I didn't think that when I was 10, to be fair.
That's why I responded to this book with like the eyebrow raised emoji, because I was like, what? Like the same thing with like, when Jake's like, take off their clothes, they'll slow them down. Like some past off controllers. I was like, what is going on here?
Oh, he does. Is it in this book that he says that?
Yes. This book was just so weird. Like, I feel like if this book was turned up to like 11, it would be like the horse book, but it was just too boring in so many parts to be like considered weird enough for me to enjoy, you know?
That's so true.
Yeah, I agree.
This book was the bad version
again,
of the horse book, which I can't believe I'm saying that.
Like, you think of the TV stuff at the beginning,
I'm
like, we're ball cutting off stuff?
reading this to, like, be that aware of, like, neutering and what it does, to the point where you can just, like, shroud it in innuendo and, like, expect them to know.
No, I wouldn't have known.
I wouldn't. I don't know if that's. I don't know.
Like,
I don't know if it works.
Like for clarification, for anyone who hasn't read this book, in your summary you said like that you talk about balls. They don't say the word balls.
They don't say the word balls at all. They just say that they haven't been neutered.
But they repeat the neutering idea multiple times, and Axe is like, I do not know what this neutering thing is, but
they say that, don't they? They kind of like foreshadow it earlier. Like,
they
do.
I'm telling you,
Axe says he doesn't know what neutering is.
I'm telling you, like this seemed like I was going in the direction of cutting the balls off. 100%, I'm firm on that.
That was what was foreshadowed. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my main...
This book is thematically about cutting balls off.
It's the subtext, okay?
Yeah.
And that's probably my last book that we didn't discuss already, because we talked about, like, the ending, how dumb it was already.
Yeah.
The seat's jammed back and he can't reach the pedals. He has to go in Gorilla Morph.
Gee, if only some of the Animorphs were taller than Marco. Oh well.
But Marco has experience driving and crashing into stuff.
That is funny. That's a funny excuse.
Marco drives on 2 wheels. That's pretty cool. Only problem is, like, I feel like they're trying to call back to the first book with this, but it was just so lame, you know? I just couldn't get into it.
That was another part of the book that I could not pay attention to.
Yeah. I would find it a lot more fun if the Yeerks weren't so, like, unrealistically nonchalant about, like, this suspicious activity.
The thing is, Marco driving in the first book was, like, my favorite part of that book. I thought it was really fun and, like, humorous and interesting, and the driving in this book was not.
These ghost-written books have just sucked all the joy out of us.
Yeah, they have.
We can no longer enjoy anything.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far, but sure.
Freaking X watches the steer get shot in the head and says that it has a hole. What the heck?
Oh yeah, dude, the second time I read this book, I was like really listening and paying attention to like when he was in the slaughterhouse.
Also, X gets like shocked by a freaking cattle prod.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
multiple times.
While he's demorphing too. Like I feel like they would have to notice that he's
and nobody says anything when he demorphs.
That was kind of stressful. I mean, obviously I knew nothing was going to happen, but like it was kind of stressful to read. It was
pretty stressful.
Well, because he was like in line at the slaughterhouse, and it's okay. There's 2 cows ahead of me. Bam! And they get shot in the foot with this machine, and then like he's like next in line. He has to do something quick. Like it was kind of interesting, but
yeah.
Couldn't the Animorphs have all been flies and gone into the nose of a random steer?
Couldn't they have been clams?
That's a good question.
Maybe it would have sneezed then. Maybe that's why I didn't sneeze, because it was one of them. But they weren't like, oh,
Yeah, it's just-
make sure you don't sneeze or we're dead.
Totally
Tobias.
worth that, that risk, I guess.
Yeah, why would they? It was whether they were cows in a slaughterhouse. It didn't seem that weird to me though. Like I was like, oh,
The author
that'll work fine.
These books are just like, I think Batter already said this at the beginning, but these books are just written like, author wants the Animorphs to go to slaughterhouse now. Okay, fine. Like, that's it. Like,
exactly.
Next, this book is the last book.
Same with the last book with this turn into the squid.
Author wants book characters to be in the deep, deep ocean. I mean,
It's like poorly written fan fiction.
Yeah, like, oh, well, what are they gonna do now? Yeah, this is like...
This is like my Animorphs and Meta Knight crossover sick level of writing here.
Author wants Animorphs to be in the Kirby video game.
World for no reason.
You guys have both read an Animorphs fanfiction?
Author wants Team Rocket Jessie to be part of Animorphs. She goes to sleep and wakes up and there she is in the dreams.
At least we're transparent about it.
Yeah, come on.
We should read those or something on the podcast.
Do that for like the next
I would die of
Yeah, we
cringe.
should do that for April Fools.
Wait, by next April
I would
Fools-
literally die, but like we should do that.
We should like review. Yeah, we could like review.
We should review each other's.
Just review it as if it's a book, as if it's a real book.
Like Animorph 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Our dreams come true. Our favorite characters in Animorphs.
Will we do both of them in the same episode?
Yeah, because neither of them are finished. Neither of them are very long.
Oh, so we can just pretend it's part of the same book, like in the Donkey Kong
We could
movie.
pretend
Yeah.
it abruptly shifts the Donkey Kong review.
No, in the Donkey Kong Legend of the Crystal Coconut, it's like 5 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
They connected with narration, like, oh, and then the next day, this happened. And then acts as if it's like a single movie.
It's really good. And then they like flash back to a thing that happens later in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
In the annals of most stupid, screwed up, pointless missions, that was the stupidest, most pointless of them all, Marco said.
Stupid from start to finish.
That's Capelgate reviewing the Ghostwriter outline.
Stupid from start to finish.
I think actually Capelgate outlines these books and then the Ghostwriter writes the actual text. So I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Capelgate, your outlines kind of sucked for this book.
I don't know. I feel like it could have been okay.
It depends on how detailed they are.
Most
I feel
of the
like Capelgate probably was going to do more with the themes and stuff.
Most
but
of
then the Ghostwriter just forgot about it.
Most of the problems I'm having with these ghost written books are just like the texts themselves and how they never. There's no like coherence really. It's just kind of like one thing after another, and there's no like. There's nothing like keeping it.
No connective tissue.
The only thing connecting the story is just events leading one to the other. It's basically there's no like, it's just. It's not really a story.
Yeah, this book had like a lot of different scenes in it because it's like okay.
It felt very episodic.
Yeah, it's okay. They go to the monkey thing
And so did the
and
last
then they do
book.
the other thing, and then they do like, and it made
It's
me
like doing missions in a video game.
it made me really not care about so much of it.
Yeah, it is like doing missions in a video game. But can you imagine if like they have to do this book in a graphic novel? Like, there's just like. There's a reason the Animorphs books never get that far. With the Animorphs reprint things and like various attempts to revitalize the series. They never get past like book 8. Maybe because somebody looks at the list of books and it's like, how many? Great job on book 8, guys. How many do we have more? Like maybe 5. Oh no, and then they're done.
Yeah, it's like so when I say I love Animorphs, like there's an asterisk that's like the first half, more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe there'll still be good stuff in the future. I definitely look forward to reading more of these.
Are we done with this book?
I wanted to talk about the scientist guy a little bit because we didn't really go into detail of that. Because like
Man, there used to be like I feel like if this were like book 6 or so or something, like if this weren't book, you know what I mean?
28. Yeah.
Like, remember the York character who appeared for, like, 2 seconds in... What book was it? Book 8? Where he was like, listen, man, I just hate Visser 3. I just want to be with my girlfriend, but he killed her. And now I just don't care about anything anymore, dude. You can, like, you can just kill me. I don't care.
Yeah, that was so good.
But now, like, this guy is just, like, one-dimensional cardboard cutout. Like, I'm a scientist and it doesn't work. Visser 3's stupid. You can kill me. I don't know. Like, he just didn't do anything interesting.
He's like, just don't kill me. Visser 3's gonna kill me.
He was just like, just let me escape, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he just exposited.
So uninteresting. He wasn't even, like, cool. Like, who were those bioengineers from Megamorphs? Something.
I don't
know.
No,
that was from Hork-Bajir Chronicles, right? Arn.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't even like those guys.
No.
I know you guys hated this, but I thought the fact that he just faked the results was kind of an interesting turn.
Sure.
Because I remember when it said, like, product obedience
It's just too fast.
is designed to use genetically engineered biological
It could have been
components.
done well, but it just wasn't enough space.
Yeah, that was this whole book.
Like when it said like they could erase the free will in your mind, in your human brain, I wrote like that's insane that that's possible. And then like my next note was like, wait, only 3 pages left? That's weird. Because they're gonna like poison the food supply, and like we said this already, but like, and like then this like they've the part of why Cassie like is like no, this isn't possible. And then like Axe is like, wait, I think Cassie might be right, because if these humans in cages were removed of free will, why would they be like stuck in biostasis? They're like frozen or something. And they're like, oh, we should unfreeze them, let them free. And Axe is like, yeah, if they didn't have free will, why would they need to be frozen here? You know, like they wouldn't try to escape. And the scientist is like, yeah, no, these results that say 100% positive, it didn't work. I faked the results. We had no choice. Visser Three kept demanding for results, so we gave him results. It was just a bunch of lies because it was all his idea. And then they describe it as this controller says, you can't separate a sentient creature from free will. They are free will. You're a crook, but you're a human. It doesn't matter. A sentient species has free will like an object has mass. You can't separate them.
What do you like?
And like that, what does that mean? Like Cassie somehow just knew that.
At what point are you a sentient creature?
Yeah, that too. Well, and then Axe asks like, oh, like did this work on chimpanzees or did they just not have free will? Or like what? Like, and I thought the discussion between the controller and Axe was kind of because I do like when controllers talk to them. Because then Axe is like, oh, I have a scientific inquiry, and then he's like, oh, andalites. At least your people genuinely appreciate science.
That's so boring. I'm sorry.
So stupid. Yeah.
It is boring, but I appreciate when controllers like this controller was very one-dimensional, but he did at least have some character. He wasn't an andalite hating
His
controller.
character was that he had like
Standards are low.
suspenders like pulled way up really
No,
tight.
he
He's
didn't.
like, I just like the science.
I like the continuing narrative that most controllers don't hate andalites that much compared to Visser Three. But it's not like it wasn't done a million times better in previous books,
right.
you know? The chimpanzees, the formula had no effect, but was it because their will remained unaffected, or merely because there was no free will to affect? We do not know. And that was like kind of like ooh, think about that, readers. Do chimpanzees have free will? Who knows?
Yeah,
and like, I don't care. Because that was a whole thing in this book.
Except it wasn't. It was mentioned like twice in the entire book. Not a theme.
Well, Cassie like angst over it. That was in your summary.
I only brought that up just so I could not bring up the ending and show that it's doesn't fit with anything.
I wrote like this book is interesting. I think I'll give it a thumbs up. I'd have to look at the other books I gave a thumbs up. A lot of really boring parts though.
Did not deserve a thumbs up.
But it had a theme that was explored, and I think it was at least somewhat interesting. That was my last note upon my first read. But it's not better than book 14 of the wrote, which did have him there. Not good book. that's the theme in these ghostwritten books is I read it and I'm like, that was pretty good, and then I talk about it for an hour and I'm like, that wasn't good. I still like it more than the last one though.
Alright, we done with this book?
Yep.
Do you guys want to open up the next book and take a look at the cover?
Stu, do you have anything
is it exciting?
Stu's like passed out, I think. Wait, do you want to you sent a picture first? You sent a picture of the inside cover of this book, and I think we should talk about that for like a minute, maybe. There's a picture of Cassie.
It looks weird.
Cassie's in front of some cows. Tobias is there for some reason. One of the cows is Axe, I guess. Axe is a cow specifically.
Axe is a cow. He doesn't have antlers.
The spandex
or
Cassie's
horns.
wearing is not Dayglow.
I don't know what Dayglow is.
Yeah, me either.
Like really bright orange.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys don't know that?
She is barefoot though, which is a detail that's sad.
According to like the wiki for this, the wiki page on the Animorphs wiki, this is the only inside cover that depicts an Animorph wearing like a morphing type outfit. Yeah.
What is she doing? She's like putting her hand over her face and being like, hee hee hee.
I think
she's pointing and laughing. Yeah.
She's pointing and laughing at Axe because he's a cow, not a bull, I think.
But it looks like she's like jamming her finger into Tobias's jowl.
That's not Tobias. Tobias is a bird. Isn't that just a random cow?
That's weird. It looks like she's
a random cow. What the heck?
Yeah, okay, that's weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah, why is
it so funny?
I thought didn't Tobias say I'll turn into a steer first so I can cover you? So this is just a bad.
Yeah, why is Tobias there? There's no reason for a red. Maybe that's just a random red-tailed hawk that happened to be there, and it's not Tobias. Like that's certainly possible.
Maybe they thought this was going to be a Tobias book, but then changed it to Axe at the last minute.
Axe is like way off to the side of this, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that also would make sense because, like, the cover's kind of weird because, like, Axe is, like, it seems like he's morphing in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I was thinking
does.
about that because I remember last time it seemed to be morphing in the wrong direction. It was actually relevant to the plot.
What?
Well, like to
What, you mean, like, Tobias, book 13? Like, Tobias turning back to human?
yeah, and I think the other Axe book, like he seemed to be backwards, but it was actually because he was like more. I don't know. I feel like I remember it being kind of relevant. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, do you guys want to look at the cover for the next book now?
What's the point of that?
When I was a kid, this cover for the next book made me very hyped.
Wait, we're gonna talk about this in the next episode.
Let's do it.
Well, yeah, but we can talk about...
Let's just post our first reactions, no words, just verbalizations, screaming only. And then we'll actually talk about it in the next episode.
I don't see what's wrong with talk... In the back of these... Listen, part of the experience of Animorphs is at the back of the books, there's like a thing that's like, get ready for the next Animorphs book. And there's a little preview, so I don't see why looking at the cover of the next book can't be like part of the podcast at times.
Okay.
Well, now you've got me hyped to look at this cover.
This cover's
so I can't
hyped.
argue anymore. Where is it posted?
This is very hype. This next book's gonna be great.
Where is it posted?
Except it's
in general?
no, I just downloaded the book.
Yeah, we're usually
I
thought you were gonna post it.
I mean, I quick ran to the store and bought a legal copy of this book.
Yeah, you did go do that, Batter.
Okay, fine.
Why did Batter make so much noise, but Mustard was so silent?
You really had to make pooping noises?
That was running noises.
You're like...
He literally said poop.
No, that's like skittering away quick.
That is so hype, dude.
Well,
now, yeah, wow, this is gonna be
so
sick.
for those who can't see, as we've been, Cassie is morphing into what seems to be a Yurk.
It's gonna turn out it's just a slug.
Yeah, it's a slug that looks like a Yurk.
It's just gonna be... They're not gonna mention Yurks at all in this book. It's literally gonna just be like, they want to figure out who's eating Cassie's mom's gardens. There's no aliens in this book.
Man, I'm excited. After book 19...
Well, yeah, because Cassie's about to make a change for the better is the tagline. We shouldn't talk about this too much, but 19 is like the best book because it was Cassie talking to a Yurk the whole time. And
yeah.
But, I mean, I shouldn't have too high hopes because it's ghostwritten. But,
I know. But
okay.
we can have hope, I suppose.
I think hopefully, like, the outline for this book and the concept of it will make up for
and also, all of the books so far have been written by different ghostwriters, so maybe this is going to be a good one, you know? You never know. I guess it's like freaking, like, IGN, the lottery.
It's just
That's
nice.
surprising, because the last two books seem to have a lot of similar mistakes. Like, they had, like, a lot of redundancy in some of the sentences.
Mm-hmm. I still feel like this cow book had a very different feel than the other book. The problems were very different to me. Like, the Squid book, the problems were that, like, the author just, like, looked up one fact about Rachel, which is that she's angry and she's kind of self-conscious about how angry she is. And they just kept repeating that over and over again. And this one was just like, we didn't know, we just didn't. And then they also, like, tried to have, like, 16 different themes. And then this one was like, we tried to have one theme, but we barely mentioned it, and the rest of the book was just nonsense. Like, it was different problems. The writing definitely felt different to me. Also, this book had way fewer... Okay, the Rachel book had so many freaking sentence fragments all over the place. Like,
not fragments, just short sentences.
They leaned into that so much. And, like, this one, the cow book, not very much at all. Which could be just a difference between Rachel and Axe, I guess. But, I mean, it was definitely less annoying to read.
Seeing this cover makes me... It's nice to know that the books aren't going to be all filler.
Yeah.
Because, like, regardless of how good this next book is, I imagine...
It can't just be filler, yeah.
Well, like, the fact that she turns into a Yurk, that's something new, isn't it? So, like, the fact that someone morphs a Yurk, like, that's new. And it's a Cassie book, and the last Cassie book, well, Yurk was good. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's adding something new, at least. It's not 100% filler. Like, something new happens, at least. They'll hopefully continue the overarching plot. Anyway... do you have, like, a tagline, like the teaser for this book or something? Or something, some cover or something?
Do you want me to get it?
I mean, that will make more sense than looking at the cover, I think.
Alright, hold on.
I'll get the joke book. I have to unlock my joke safe with these keys.
Sir, wake up! You gotta at least be here for the jokes.
Yeah. He's, like, actually asleep now.
Oh my gosh. How do you fall asleep in a room with 3 people talking? I could never.
Oh, he's moving. Stir!
Get your brain ready to hear this epic joke, okay?
Okay, here's the teaser from the inside of book 28 about book 29. Axe is about to fall, ... There's something seriously wrong with Axe. He's got a virus and it's killing him. It's up to Cassie and the other Animorphs to find a cure and save his life without giving their secret away.
That sounds epic, dude.
It sounds like book 13.
Wow.
No, it doesn't.
Are you thinking of the right book?
Yes.
The change?
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate?
No, not book 13, book 12. So my bad.
Yeah, I knew it.
Axe has a sudden issue for some reason. Oh, Rachel has a sudden allergy to alligators.
This is gonna be great.
It's concerning that they don't mention Yerks at all in there, but I still look forward to it.
Cassie actually only turns into a Yerk in her dreams.
No!
That would be a first for the covers, wouldn't it?
I would hate that so much.
The covers always like what really happens.
Yeah.
What is the next
should
one?
have had a cover of Rachel being buried alive.
Wait, why? What?
There's no
Where did this
more.
come from?
She's just slowly sinking lower into the dirt. And the final one is just the ground. And then you open it up and the inside cover is just like this barren earth with nothing there.
Dude, I'm so excited
That's
for
like
these.
the last book. It's really ominous.
Dude, I'm so excited for these upcoming books. Because next is that book. Sorry, I guess I probably shouldn't be.
The tagline's like, we all gotta go someday.
Oh my gosh.
Man, remember in the first book when Tobias turns into a hawk and it was a huge deal? We need more stuff like that. We need Rachel to just die
Rachel
somewhere.
to die. Maybe they should just kill Rachel.
Yeah.
Maybe they should... What was that joke originally about?
Rachel
in
book
book
12.
Oh, maybe they should just kill Rachel in book 12.
Guys, the next book is The Sickness. She's a Yerk. And after that, Megamorphs 3. And the title of that is Elfingo's Secret. That's hype.
This is gonna be hype.
Then after that's Alternamorphs 1, the Choose Your Own Adventure book. I'm very excited for
This
the
is
next
gonna be the
episodes.
great arc, guys. We're turning it around. We had kind of a bad couple of books, but this is
Bad,
gonna
very bad day. Oh boy.
Cow book bad. Cow book bad. Cow book very bad. Cow book
bad.
bad.
I'm glad you were referencing the thing I thought you were.
Yes.
Listen to Mime Box, my album.
Stir.
Okay, you ready for the joke, Stir?
Make him read the joke.
The last one was... No, I always read the joke.
Sorry, the joke was so funny I peed my pants.
No, that was the cow blood.
No, I like that she said that before the joke even happened. Just in anticipation.
It was so funny that I peed my pants before even hearing it, okay?
Okay, knock knock.
Who's there?
Wilma.
Wilma who?
Wilma, dad, suck my
What is that? No, that's not appropriate.
That's literally the first thing I thought of.
Is that a reference to something?
No.
Wilma
Says something about
Flintstone?
me.
Isn't that what Fred's wife's name is?
Yes it is.
Okay. I don't really watch the
Wilma
Flintstones.
Flintstone, will she suck my...
This is a no swearing podcast.
Will Ma be available later?
Will
It is Will.
my
It is-
pencil still be in my desk?
That's close. That's very close, I would
What?
say. Because they're all like school themed.
Yeah,
Will my-
that's where I was going with this. Will my
Penis.
That's swearing. It's very inappropriate.
yeah. Will my balls still be there after I wake up?
It sucks.
Did I morph a steer instead of a bull or what?
I literally can't tell what it could be with the pencil thing. Will
It's not pencil related, sorry.
Okay, will something be there after?
Will something be ready soon?
Will my pencil be ready?
Will my backpack be ready soon?
Will my pot pie be ready soon?
What is this voice you guys are doing?
It's someone who would say, Will Ma.
Sir, do you have any guess?
That was a good guess.
He just not shook his head and closed his eyes.
Will my stir still be sleeping? I'm literally just say it, dude. We don't know.
What's something that a kid would wait to be ready that's related to school?
Will my breakfast be ready, Mama?
You don't-
Will my test be graded?
That's close.
Will my homework
be graded?
Will my homework be eaten by my dog?
Something there'll be well no, something very soon. And it's close to homework, but
Will
it's
my
something
lunch be ready?
it's close, very close to homework grade, but it's more important.
Will my final report card be ready soon, teacher?
Yeah. Will my report card be ready soon?
Wow.
Why are they all at school? It's so specific to school.
It's so weird.
I mean, it's just written for kids.
Like, who would ask that anyway? Like, you get your report card when you get it.
Imagine, like, wanting to know about your report card to your teacher. So you go up to your teacher, like, knock, knock.
Yeah, really.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Oh my.
Will
One more point, that'd be amazing. Do you want to talk about neutering?
I wonder if Capplegate is older than my mom and dad. She's probably the exact same age, I bet.
She's 51.
Oh.
Born in 1971.
So she's like,
are you on the right page? This says that the Wikipedia says was born in 1956.
Yeah, sorry, that's Christina Applegate.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
You know what?
Did you literally just search Capplegate?
I did. I literally typed Capplegate age.
Mustard.
I forgot that she's not called Capplegate. That's just what we call her.